after round one of the vote of no confidence motion on the floor of Parliament, we heard the good Prime Minister, the Honourable James Marape, make mention that there should be a review of Section 145 of the Constitution to limit the number of no confidence motions that should be put into a Prime Minister, because this is a direct impediment to the government's performance and their ability to work and implement policy. I think this is a fallacy, and it's a big lie. In 5 years, the Honourable James Marape and his Pangu-led coalition government have failed to improve the socio-economic indicators throughout the country. All you have to do is walk down to a local grocery store and confirm the price of a bag of rice. Is it 20 kina? Is it 30 kina? Is it 50 kina? Is it 100 kina? What is the price of a bag of rice?
I'll get a 5 kg bag of rice and probably 4 tin fish, dolly tuna preferably.
Cheap item or something like that. So if I get a tray of chicken with 2 packet rice or pen, then the value would be like, you would get a change of maybe 5 kina or less.
Currently, there's not much that we can purchase from the shops, not like before. We purchase only a few items.
To my view, I think that suppose 50 kina ini buy me now 50 kina no got value dong me. Ini buy most one pakan bag rice or tin fish, but not buy plenty something.
So that completely tells us that there's been total economic mismanagement. Inflation is through the roof, and we are in a cost of living crisis. Let's not forget the other litany of crises: the fuel crisis, the FX crisis, the health crisis where there's no drugs in our hospitals, the law and order crisis with murder, rampant killings happening all around the country. The country is in free fall. There has to be a change in leadership. Therefore, we announced, the opposition announced to the country that this was only round one, and we will be bringing another motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister in the next sitting of Parliament. Because the number one tool that this Prime Minister uses to suppress and manage his politics is the weaponization of the budget and selective warranting. This is illegal. This can't be allowed. This is the people's money. We forget about equity when we allow a Prime Minister to dictate how the people's money is spent, treating Treasury like a tuck box. We have to get out of this culture of conformity where we have members of Parliament that come to Waigani and become beggars. All they can do is participate in all these clamoring adulations where the 11th Parliament is synonymous with pleasantries, platitudes, and Pollyanna, rather than being focused on policy implementation. 5 years equates to 1,825 days, 260 weeks. If you're a Prime Minister or if you're a Minister in Cabinet and you've not set a SMART goal, if you haven't effectively implemented any policy during this period, then this raises the question, what on earth are you doing in that position of responsibility, dealing with people's lives and their welfare? This equates to total incompetence. Hence why there will be round 2 VONC in November 2024. It is time for tough decisions to be made by the Prime Minister to change the Police Minister, change the Commissioner, and ensure that the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary is effective and nimble, resourced, and able to go out and enforce the laws of this land. In Papua New Guinea, every citizen, every man, woman, and child has the right to live in a safe community. In the Constitution, Section 37 clearly says that every person has the right to the full protection of the law. Subsequent sections talk about our right to life, our right to freedom from inhuman treatment, our right to freedom, our right to expression of speech. All these rights are captured in the Constitution. The biggest challenge that's affecting government and the way we represent our people is in the enforcement of the laws of the land. How do we enforce the criminal code? How do we enforce the Constitution? This has really questioned the overall effectiveness of the current Marape government. We have seen recently this barrage on social media with pictures of gory images of death, of corpses being mutilated, of victims slain by machetes, just killed because of mad gun-toting criminals. This is not the society that our forefathers envisaged when we became an independent state 49 years ago. Something is seriously going wrong, and we are on the path to fast becoming a banana republic if we do not take law and order as our #1 priority for the people of Papua New Guinea. There is nothing more important than ensuring that we have a safe environment for our citizens. So why are we in this situation where we find it very hard or almost impossible to arrest the high crime rate, this spate of terror, this spike in violent crimes that has been synonymous with the Marape government? This comes back to one bad decision after another. When you're running a government on a kakistocracy and you're making appointments based on nepotism and cronyism and not on merit, not because someone's the best person, most qualified, most able for a position, but because they're there to facilitate an agenda, then we can forget about effective policy implementation. We can forget about doing the right thing. We're starting to personalize and corrupt and weaken institutions. And there is no more important institution than the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. We cannot sit by the wayside and allow this killing and this torture and this violation of the Constitution to become normal in our society. It is time for tough decisions to be made by the Prime Minister to change the Police Minister, change the Commissioner, and ensure that the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary is effective and nimble, resourced, and able to go out and enforce the laws of this land. Otherwise, we will be doomed.
The economy is not performing today. It's not performing because why? Cost of living has gone up due to inflation and, of course, government's overspending, which is creating this environment where the prices of goods are going up. Devaluation of Kina is the other reason why prices of goods are continuously going up. So our wages for all the workers in the country has not been reviewed for the 5 years. So the real wages that our people are earning every fortnight is still the same. But the prices of goods have gone down. So now when you go down to the shops, you will find that you can't afford to buy the same things that you used to buy 5 years ago. That's the reality that we are. Minimum wage board meeting and the increase that we did to 3.50 per hour for the minimum labor pay was done in 2016. 2016. Now it's 9 years since that last board meeting, and last 5 years I've mentioned it about 3 or 4 times on the floor of Parliament. When is government going to establish a minimum wages board and convene a meeting so that we can review? Many of the people who are in the private sector are aware that their employees are getting less pay and they can't buy enough food for their families. Then they want to increase their wages. Many of the businesses are saying that. These are businesses that we are talking to. So they are trying to say, when is the government going to sit down and make it legal for us and set a rate that they can pay their employees?